Listen carefully. Being strong isn't a blessing. It's a sentence. Everyone looks at him and thinks he has everything. Power, confidence, control. But no one asks what it cost. From the moment he realized he was different, the world stopped seeing him as human. He wasn't a kid anymore. He was a weapon. Every smile he gave was misunderstood. Every joke was a mask. Every victory pushed people further away. Because when you're the strongest, no one stands beside you. They stand behind you, or beneath you. He learned early that strength doesn't bring comfort. It brings distance. Enemies don't scare you anymore. But neither does companionship feel real. And the pain? It's quiet. It doesn't scream. It doesn't bleed. It just sits there, heavy, unmoving, waiting for the moment you admit the truth, that you can protect everyone, but no one can protect you. So he kept smiling, kept teaching, kept fighting, because if he stopped, everything would collapse. And here's the cruel irony. The stronger you become, the more alone you feel. Because no one understands your fear. No one shares your burden. No one reaches your height. And sometimes, late at night, when the noise fades, a single thought appears. If I'm still the strongest, then why does it feel like I'm the most alone? Tell me, is strength worth it? When it costs you every real connection you ever wanted? Comment your answer. They think being the strongest means fear is gone, that nothing can touch you. But that's a lie. Fear doesn't disappear. It changes. You stop fearing defeat and start fearing attachment. Because everyone you care about becomes a weakness, a target, a countdown. So he built walls made of laughter. Sarcasm became armor. Confidence became camouflage. Not because he didn't feel pain, but because if he showed it, the world would crack. He watched others grow together while he stood apart. Students, friends, allies, all moving forward while he stayed still. Not because he couldn't walk with them, but because if he did, they'd never survive his enemies. So he chose distance, not out of arrogance, but out of mercy. Every time someone said, "Don't worry, you're the strongest," they didn't realize they were telling him he had no excuse to be human, no right to fall apart, no right to hesitate, no right to break. He had to be perfect, even when he was exhausted, even when doubt crept in, even when the weight became unbearable. And that's when the silence hits hardest. Because strength doesn't scream when it's tired. It just keeps going, until one day it wonders, if I stop for even a second, will everything I protected disappear? So tell me, how long can someone carry the world alone? Before even the strongest begins to crack? Comment what you think. They don't see the nights, the moments when the noise fades, and the silence gets loud. That's when the truth shows up, not as fear, but as a question he never asks out loud. What happens if I fail? Because when you're the strongest, failure isn't allowed. Mistakes don't get forgiven. They get remembered. So he learned to smile through pressure, to joke while calculating survival, to stand relaxed while holding the line between chaos and collapse. Every battle sharpened his power, but dulled his peace. Because the stronger he became, the fewer people could stand beside him. Strength pushed everyone back. Not intentionally. Not cruelly. Just naturally. And slowly, the world stopped seeing the person and only saw the weapon. A last resort. A final answer. A living insurance policy. They don't ask how he's doing. They ask if he's ready. Ready to fight. Ready to protect. Ready to die if needed. And he says yes. Not because he wants to, but because if he doesn't, no one else can. So he carries that truth quietly, with a calm face and steady voice, while his mind runs endless calculations. How many lives today? How much damage is acceptable? How much pain can be ignored? And in the middle of all that chaos, there's a pause. A single thought that cuts deeper than any enemy. If I disappeared tomorrow, would they miss me? Or only the power I leave behind? So tell me, when strength becomes your only value, do you still exist as a person? Or just as a solution? Comment your answer. He stands where no one else can. Not because he chose the height, but because everyone else stopped climbing. When you're untouchable, you're also unreachable. People admire him from a distance, praise him in whispers, fear him in silence. But no one asks to share the weight, because strength like his doesn't invite companionship. It creates dependence. They rely on him to fix everything. Curses, disasters, mistakes they never prepared for. And every time he steps in, the world learns a dangerous habit. Someone else will handle it. So the pressure grows, not from enemies, but from expectations. If he wins, it was obvious. If he struggles, it's unacceptable. If he falls, it's unforgivable. That's the curse of being the strongest. You don't get room to breathe. You don't get time to heal. You don't get permission to be human. Even loneliness becomes a luxury. He can't afford, so he locks it away. Behind confidence, behind humor, behind a calm voice that says everything is under control. But inside, he knows the truth. Power doesn't protect you from pain. It just delays when you're allowed to feel it. And sometimes, in the quiet between battles, there's a pause, a realization that hits harder than any blow. If everyone depends on me, what happens when I finally need someone? So answer this. Is being the strongest a blessing, or the loneliest prison a person can build? Comment what you think. So understand this. He never said, "I'm the strongest," to boast. He said it to carry the fear no one else could. Because when you stand at the top, there is no one to catch you. Every smile becomes armor. Every joke becomes a shield. Every calm breath hides the fact that, if he ever breaks, the world breaks with him. That's why he doesn't hesitate. Not because he doesn't feel pain, but because he refuses to let others feel it first. He chose isolation over hesitation, responsibility over rest, strength over safety. And here's the truth that hurts. Being the strongest isn't about winning fights. It's about staying standing. When you're exhausted, alone, and still expected to save everyone. There will be a moment when even he pauses, not in fear, but in clarity. A moment where he asks himself, how long can I be the answer to everyone else's problems while ignoring my own? So tell me, if strength costs you your peace, your silence, your humanity, would you still choose to be the strongest? Or would you finally choose yourself? Comment your answer.